We've just finished one of the craziest chapters of all time, and now the question in everybody's mind, what is Rox actually doing in Imu's room? And how was he even able to be there? Alright, start things off. Rox wants to be the king of the world. Alright, so if he wants to be something, you gotta actually know the history behind it, am I right? So the idea of Rox actually knowing Imu's existence is just totally makes sense, because Rox wants to be this, wants to be the king of the world. You gotta know who is behind this, and you gotta know, because since the fact that Blackbeard is a historian, and Blackbeard is basically following the footsteps of his father, so it gotta be that Rox is a historian too, and he knows about the whole history of the One Piece world, including everybody in your mind in the Void Century, and even before that, if you want to say like the real Nika, like the first Nika 3 or 4 or 5,000 years ago. So what was Rox doing in there? Alright, to start things off, he destroyed the Gate of Justice to go to Marijua. This means that Rox wasn't invited, and at the end of the chapter, as we all know, that Rox became the king of Hachinoso eventually, like at the end of the time, not within the time that he met Imu-sama. So at the time he met Imu-sama, he was an intruder in Marijua, especially the fact that he kidnapped 5 kings, and Imu wasn't convinced that kidnapping them is gonna like create or give you anything, because this will not, because Imu does not give a damn shit about the souls of the kings or whatever, okay? So Rox actually knew that, he knows, but the idea of Rox attacking Marijua, killing an admiral, kidnapping 5 kings is just an alarm and warning to Imu-sama, and to declare the war against Imu-sama, because Rox wants to be the king of the world, especially that at the end of their conversation, he said that I'm coming back in one day, okay? And this also can add to the fact that Rox might actually still be alive. I know some people are saying that. I'm not totally against it. I mean, I get it. Like, if Rox is still alive, I'm genuinely gonna be happy. I mean, we're all gonna be happy when we see Rox, right? But the idea of Rox still being alive, that's just a whole different subject, okay? And now let's get back to 56 years ago. Rox was telling Imu that he admires Davy Jones, and this made Imu absolutely fuming. And we all know that Robin talked about Davy Jones. Davy Jones is one of the pillars of the pirates, okay? He started it all. Like, he was one of the first people to ever start the idea of piracy. Even the legend of Davy Jones in our real world, the idea of Davy Jones was in our real world in the 17th century, the 18th century at the time, where pirates were still there, okay? That was the idea, the legend of Davy Jones. And he was always treated as a god to the pirates. And that is why, or that is how Rox admires Davy Jones. Because he was the man in the One Piece world, he was the man that started it all. And it might be crazy, but hear me out, it might be crazy. Since that Davy Jones is clearly an enemy to Imu-sama, this means 2 things. He's either has to do something with Joy Boy, like back then in the Void Century, or he's a man who started a revolutionary movement or something against Imu-sama and against the idea of the world government, and that is how Imu made sure that Davy Jones will disappear from the world, okay? And I mean, the curse and him being living under the sea and all of that might have to do something with Imu-sama, alright? But the idea of Rox admiring Davy Jones has to do something with Joy Boy. It gotta be related to Joy Boy, okay? You can say that Davy Jones was the first mate of Joy Boy. It can be possible. And you can say that Davy Jones and Joy Boy was the first men to ever start the piracy, the pirate era, okay? It is possible. And the second idea, that which I do believe that is the case, because I do believe that Rox and Blackbeard treat or consider Davy Jones to be their Joy Boy, okay? And that's gonna be on a whole different video, okay? I'm gonna be talking about the idea or the fact that Rox and Blackbeard sees Davy Jones as their god, as their Joy Boy. I'm not gonna say as their Nika, but let's just say as their Joy Boy, okay? Because I do believe that he is one of the first men to ever start the idea of piracy. And that is how Imu-sama doesn't stand the fact that Rox the Zibik, the man who wants to be the king of the world, in front of her face, in front of her eyes, he tells her, or he tells Imu, he tells him that he admires Davy Jones, the one man or one of the few people who was toe-to-toe against Imu-sama and against everything Imusama believes in. So this leaves us to two options, which I do believe that one of them is true. Number one, and it might be stupid, but hear me out. Oda kept Joy Boy's name as a secret because you just cannot tell me that Joy Boy's real name is actually Joy Boy. That is just like something for people to describe this person of Joy Boy, right? Like this person is the Joy Boy, right? But his real name is totally not Joy Boy. I think you all agree on this, right? So I do believe, and there's an idea, and hear me out before you start like writing the comments and like screaming and stuff. There's an idea that Joy Boy's real name might actually be Davy Jones. And hear me out. It is possible. You just cannot deny this, okay? Because for Rocks, like one of the greatest human beings to ever exist in the world of One Piece, to be admiring Davy Jones, and not only that, the idea of Rocks D. Zibik admiring Hody Jones and oh my god, admiring Davy Jones and telling Imusama in front of her face that he admires Davy Jones. This definitely means that Davy Jones is an enemy to Imusama. Davy Jones is not an ordinary man, okay? He's not. He's definitely a man who claimed to be a god, who was the arch nemesis of Imusama, okay? I do believe that. So it leaves us to two options, which is number one, like I said, Joy Boy's real name is Davy Jones, and number two, that Davy Jones back then, probably in the Void Century or whatever, like the timeline that he lived in, if he's not Joy Boy, or like let's say he lived in the Void Century, his devil fruit is Heto no Mi, but not Sun God Nika. He is the devil. Like, he is the devil. Because we all see that Rocks D. Zibik and Marshall D. Teach, they are somehow like wannabe gods, right? But in not a liberating way like Joy Boy and Nika, like the real ones, but in a way that they kill people, they treat people poorly, and they do whatever they want in the name of freedom. But like in the yin yang of Joy Boy and Davy Jones, or like the sun and moon or whatever, right? So I do believe that Davy Jones is either the real name of Joy Boy, like he is Joy Boy, or he is another man who had a devil fruit, which is Heto no Mi, but not Sun God. He is the devil. Alright, so I guess that is it. That is the end of the video. Write in the comments, like, even if you disagree with me on this, just write in the comments, what do you think of all this? Do you believe that? Okay, I said a lot of stuff, so write in the comments if you agree on like some of them. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Mwah.